Hello, dear students. You are welcome in Literature Simply. Dear students, we have started a series called Literary Terms, and this is hash fourth literary terms. Dear students, in the previous video, we talked about allegory, fable, parable, and in this video, we have the next part of the same series, and we will talk about the similar terms to allegory, fable, and parable, that is exemplum and proverb. So these five terms are similar in their nature: allegory, fable, parable, and exemplum, proverb. So please keep in mind that these terms often come together with similar nature. So let's start with the hash fourth literary terms, exemplum and proverb. Before starting this video, dear students, please subscribe to our channel Literature Simply and support us so that we can make the great content on English literature. So here we have exemplum and proverb. First, we'll understand the definition of the term exemplum. Here we have this definition from M.H. Abrams and Geoffrey Halfham's A Handbook of Literary Terms. I quote, "An exemplum is a story told as a particular instance of the general theme in a religious sermon." This is a very simple definition. If you look at this definition, there are only two lines and you will understand what is exemplum. Exemplum is nothing but a story. So what is included in that story? Let's understand. What are the important words in this definition of M.H. Abrams? So here you see there are two important words: a story and a religious sermon. Now exemplum is nothing but a story. It is a story which generally occurs in religious sermon. So this has relation with religion. Whatever you find in religious preaching, teaching or sermon, you have this term called exemplum. So for the first time this term is used in religious sermon, but in modern time the connotation of this term is far broader. We will understand what is that connotation in broader sense. Now we have next definition by Chris Baldick, which is derived from Dictionary of Literary Terms. So this is the Oxford Dictionary of Literary Terms, and I quote, "A short tale used as an example to illustrate a moral point, usually in a sermon or other didactic work." Now if you look at this definition, you have the scope of this term exemplum is widened. How? It is not only used in religious sermon, but you find the same thing in didactic work. Now this didactic work comes out of the box of religious sermons. So in prose or verse you can find this kind of exemplum. Exemplum is nothing but an example through the medium of a short tale or through the medium of a story. So it is generally a short tale. So important words here we have in this definition: short tale, a moral point, a sermon or other didactic work. Now three things you need to understand about this exemplum. Exemplum is nothing but example, but it includes a moral point, right? And it is generally appears in didactic work, religious sermons or some kind of teaching, some kind of preaching, in the prose work or in the poetry. So this is very simple. It is an example in the form of short tale or short story. So let's understand the examples of this exemplum. Here we have Robert Manning's handling scene, which is composed in early 14th century, and then we have Geoffrey Chaucer's Pardoner's Tale and Nun's Priest's Tale in Canterbury Tales, generally recorded in 1400. Now dear students, Canterbury Tales is a collection of some stories or some tales. I think there are 27 tales in the story. So if you look at this Pardoner's Tale, you find how the very dictum or principle or moral point, which is greed is the root of all evil, is explained through a story. And here we find a story in Pardoner's Tale, tale of three drunken revelers. So revelers are nothing but the people who makes merry, who makes party with a loud sounds, with a Noisy, you can say it as noisy party. So revelers are the persons who are doing noisy parties. So there are so many adores they do in the parties, and they are called revelers. So these three drunken revelers, now they set out their journey to find death, or what is the death. They wanted to know about death, and they found the heap of gold, and on that heap of gold they become very astonished, and they say that how we got this heap of gold. And then there we find they fight each other, they fight among each other for the gold, and after that they met death. And hence we have very apt dictum, greed is the root of all evil. So these kind of things happen. So this is told in Partner's Tale. The partner tells the story of these three drunken revelers, and they at the end meet the death. And what happens with them? This is the moral principle. Greed is the root of all evil. These kind of things happen in Exemplum. So these are the examples of Exemplum. Now let's move to the next part, and that is proverb. Now what is proverb? Let's understand the definition. I quote, many proverbs, short pithy statements of widely accepted truths about everyday life, are allegorical in that the explicit statement is meant to have by analogy or by extended reference a general application. Now here it's very simple. So the important part in this definition is short pithy statements of widely accepted truths about everyday life, and it is in the form of allegory. Now dear students, what is the similarity between allegory and proverb? You find proverb is always in allegorical form. This is the similarity. Now what is proverb? Proverb is very simple. It is a short pithy statements revealing the truth about everyday life. Whatever you find in everyday life, you find the same proverb is based on that truth, based on that reality. And there are many examples. So this is what in the form of allegory. Now next we have Chris Bardick's definition. I quote, a short popular saying of unknown authorship expressing some general truth or superstition. I unquote. Now here you find the scope is widened of the term proverb. So short popular saying, truth or superstition. So this is not limited to the truth in everyday life, but sometimes proverbs reflect superstition, superstitious nature of human beings. And this is also again a very popular saying or popular short statement, popular short line. Let's understand through the examples. There are many examples of proverb. You might be familiar with proverb in your native language or in English. There are Indian proverbs, very popular, and we also have English proverbs. Here let's understand first English proverbs and then Indian proverbs. Very first example, a stitch in time saves 9. This is an English proverb, so it gives you importance of time and how you can manage time. Next we have, people in glass houses should not throw stones. Now this is very popular term, and you all are familiar with this popular proverb. Those people who are living in glass houses should not throw stones, and the meaning is very clear here. Next we have, too many cooks spoil the broth. This is again an English term, proverb. Now what is broth? Broth is a kind of liquid in which you boil meat, fish, vegetables, etc. And if you have many cooks in the kitchen, then the result will be the spoiling of that broth, the spoiling of that food. This is very simple. So don't crowd if the crowd is not necessary, or generally crowd is not necessary anywhere. So individuals or single quantity will make your point. So many cooks spoil the broth. This is a simple proverb. Next we have, a thief thinks everybody steals. Now it is through the eyes of a thief. If there is a thief and he looks at people like himself and he finds that, or he thinks all are thieves like me, or these people are stealing something. So this is the point of view of a thief, and this is a popular proverb in India. Next we have, don't poison someone whom you can kill with sweets. This is again popular proverb. When an elephant is in trouble, even a frog will kick him. This is aptly related to the human situation. For example, some human being is stuck in something, and the mean kind of things may happen with him. So this is regarding the human nature. Next we have, he who does not climb will not fall either. Again, this is a very popular proverb, and we find this proverb is used in general life. For example, if you are not going to dare something, if you are not taking action, so there will not be any difficulty, or there will not be a fear of success or failure. So if someone is not climbing, then he don't have the fear of falling down. This is what we use in general life for success, for failure, for many kind of things, actions of people. So dear students, these are the two terms, exemplum and proverb, and also we talked about allegory, fable, parable. These 5 terms are similar, so please pay attention and understand through definitions, examples and minor differences. If you have any problem, any query, you can comment below in the comment section, or you can mail me at contactliteraturesimply@gmail.com. I will answer your questions or your queries. So dear students, thank you very much for watching the complete video. Please subscribe our channel, share these videos.